Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another rant, and I'm sure this is going to be talked about a lot. We all know what happened, but either way I'm still going to give my thoughts. We can tell we have Chris Rock, we have Will Smith at the 2022 Oscar Awards, and I'm pretty sure y'all aware what happened, why he even slapped him, was because Chris Rock claimed that he made an innocent joke towards his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, about her illness, and he was surprised. Like, I'm pretty sure he was shook. Like, you see Will Smith going up on stage, he immediately smacks Chris Rock on the face, and he was like smiling, like as if he didn't know, he didn't see it coming. And then Will Smith is like cussing, "Don't ever bring my wife's name out of your mouth," and he's like, "Fuck." And he was shouting. He definitely didn't seem like he was joking. And already when this was trending, like, people were already making YouTube videos, memes, animated edits. And besides that, like, although that's not as important, although that's funny, people want to respond to those and react to those kind of videos, but it's also best to give my thoughts of what possibly could happen, even though Will Smith does regret what he does later on. So what could possibly happen? I'm pretty sure Chris Rock is not going to press charges, considering the 57-year-old man is so friends with the old 53-year-old Will Smith. And I feel like, because back in the 90s, I feel like they knew each other for a long time. Like, when I was a kid from the 90s, they were definitely adults. They're not as young as they come. So how I look at it is, maybe because even if you're friends with someone for 20 or 30 years, you can still have issues with them later in the future, and then eventually have some beef in willing to get into a physical altercation, which we see in this picture right now. But I'm pretty sure, guarantee you, Will Smith regret what he did now, because not because he feels sorry for Chris Rock, because he felt that in a way he was justified, and he wanted to protect his wife from any criticism, because he knew her personally, that she was suffering, and it felt it wasn't right for him to talk poorly of her. And what could happen eventually? Chris Rock could take this opportunity to press charges, but I feel maybe, judging from his face, it wasn't a very serious, it wasn't a very serious. He's not even injured. It wasn't a very serious attack. He felt like he actually let him off lightly. But in a way, like, people are gonna take my opinions a little bit too harsh. They think that I'm going too far with what I have to say, even though it's literally my opinion. But odds are is that in a way this kind of creates stereotypes of black people, because this is like, I'm sure there have been fights at the Oscar Awards. There have been, like, people getting riled up. I'm sure there are people who've had a temper tantrum, but you wouldn't expect. I feel this is the first. This is the first time I saw somebody else approach someone and immediately decide to assault them on camera in front of millions of people. But also, the reason why I also bring this up again is because this also, in a way, can create stereotypes of black people, and people will say, "Oh, this is why black people are the way they are, because they're influenced by celebrities." They feel altered violence is the right solution in every situation, and that they don't know how to control their emotions. But at least the thing about Will Smith, he even said on his IG that he knew that his actions were wrong. He was well aware. He was in the heat of the moment. He even apologized to Chris Rock, even if he isn't sincere. He even said it because he was trying to defend his wife, and he felt in a way he was justified. And he felt that was the only way to keep people from even insulting his wife. And because how he looks at it is that people will never understand what him and his wife is going through, and that they have no right to talk poorly of her. They have no right to judge him. And in a way, he's trying to warn people, like, what you see on camera, this is what happens when you talk shit, get hit. Even my sister told me that, like, if you're willing to run your mouth and talk shit about some, odds are you're gonna get hit, and the chances, don't expect no repercussions. because I've made videos about this before, is that there are just people out there, they just don't know when to keep their mouth closed. They don't know when to shut up. And I've exposed people like, and yeah, I'd be wanting to approach them the way Will Smith is, because maybe that's the only way you can kind of convince somebody. Because so because these days, like I said, words won't cut it. You can't just simply tell somebody to stop doing this, or they need to change or improve themselves, because odds are that's just who they are mentally. Because Chris Rock, we all know he's a joker. He's a like that's just mentally is. He likes to talk, make jokes about other people, just like Dave Chappelle. But for Will Smith, it was personal because he literally brought up his wife's name. Now, Heidi said this about a random woman, a woman that doesn't even exist. It can literally be a fictional woman, a woman who doesn't even exist. Guarantee you, Will Smith wouldn't have approached him the way he did. And again, I'm pretty sure Chris Rock wasn't hesitant about it. He was just shook. He was surprised. He wasn't really injured. And I'm sure whether he forgives him or not is all up to him. But at the end of the day, it does not mean he has to change his mind. I'm pretty sure Chris Rock did not take it personally, because it was funny because now people were mentioning about the theme song, "Everybody Hates Chris." Now, I don't know if I even looked it up right now, but someone would probably use this video and edit. Imagine they could take my advice, or they just are pretty new about it before even taking my advice. So what would be interesting is that they use the "Everybody's Hate Chris" theme song, or that I remember that scenario where when the commercial's about to start, where it's like "Everybody Hates Chris," but it's like they play that at the end of the video because it correlates to Chris Life's childhood as well as his real life impact. So when not really would it really impact him, but I feel it would make like a funny edit. And although I should not really be making jokes about the situation, I feel like I'm wondering whether he gets the time to react. Like, it would definitely relate as to what was going on in this photo. And people can pretty much say to themselves that he had it coming. Because it's one of those situations where if you watch If Everybody Hates Chris, where Chris Rock, he does something, and it's not really too deplorable. He does something that he realizes he isn't supposed to do, but then he thinks maybe he wouldn't really get any repercussions. He feels he wouldn't get caught in the moment, that he was just in the moment. He's trying to impress his friends, trying to impress his family members, trying to fit in, or he's just trying to avoid failing classes. He's trying to avoid getting trouble by his parents, as well as getting beat by his mom. So he thought by saying that, like I said, it relates to what I'm talking about, because he thought by saying that there would be no repercussions, but then lo and behold, he got what's coming to him. Now, do I believe Chris Rock will press charges? I personally don't think so. I don't know, unless he has a change of mind, and he did take it personally, or I don't think whether he decides to talk about it all, it's all up to him. I can't really decide for him. So, but again, I'm sure for him, he was not that phased. He was not. Whether he took it, I don't know. Maybe he did, the reason why he even reacted the way he did, not only because he's surprised, he's trying to act professionally, because this is the Oscars we're talking about. You want to be able to control your composure, so that because that, I want to say this for sure. Especially if you are a celebrity, especially if you're being monitored, if you do something reckless like what Will Smith is doing, and if in response Chris Rock were to retaliate, they both would suffer the consequence, and they would definitely affect their career at the end of the day. Because whether this means that, it's just because people should know by now that there are people who've been forced to leave Hollywood, who've lost their spot in doing certain movies. For example, Kevin Spacey, for harassing other men, for putting his hands on them, just like with what we have seen with Will Smith over here. Because odds are they would suffer the same consequences, because they realize this could definitely affect Hollywood in a bad way. Although we know there's a lot of things going on behind closed doors, but because it is seen on camera, or if there's actual witnesses, several witnesses, then their career would be on the line. And it's also important that you also have to act professionally. You can should have done at the end of the day, should have done this during their own spare time when their cameras weren't rolling. But those are my thoughts again, because I feel even if Will Smith regrets what he's doing, this could again impact his career later going on. Maybe possibly not being able to do movies or doing any careers that involves music or whatever he's good at. And it had Chris Rock he would suffer the same consequences. And then he realized he didn't want to catch the same charge as Will Smith. He didn't want to be put under the same category as being exposed. And again, could there have been a better way to handle the situation? Yes. Will Smith should have spoke to him personally outside, take it somewhere else rather than on camera, because he made himself look. I'm pretty sure he feels embarrassed right now. I'm sure that's what he's thinking. He feels embarrassed because this is being seen by millions of people, and already people are making several videos like that relate to what's going on by doing memes, edits, and then to them it may be a joke, but this is still an assault. But even though he didn't really put Chris Rock at risk, odds are, depending how sensitive it is, if he is disabled or whatever, if he is vulnerable, then he can most likely bruise easily, and then would give him enough reason enough to separate from Will Smith or do whatever necessary to stay away from him, on top of pressing charges. And then that's where things will stir a lot of drama, and saying that it's Chris Rock's fault, it's Will Smith's fault. But again, to be real, Chris Rock should have been more sensitive, and against Will Smith should have kept his hands to himself, and maybe that way everything would have been avoided. Had these guys avoided doing what they did, that you see wouldn't have transpired in this picture and in the video that you would currently see if you were to look it up. And again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.